As of last night, as of recording this, we had eight new cards, eight, nine cards revealed from Mega Dream. We have the return of Trainers Pokemon after being absent from Mega Evolution. Trainers Pokemon are making a slight return and helping out some of the archetypes. Just specifically, right now, we have some more Ends Pokemon being revealed. But first of all, let's start with the new Mega Froslass, which was honestly one of my more preferred Mega Evolutions from ZA. It looks really cool. The design is so sleek, and just Froslass needed a Mega because Glalie got one, so why not Froslass? But first, an important note is that we get a new Snow Run. This one has 70 HP, which is important because for Grimmsnarl decks, it means that your Snow Runs are no longer a need to evolve immediately because Dragapult can just go Phantom Dive. Now, if Dragapult wants to knock out your Snow Runs, they need Hawlucha plus Phantom Dive. So they need to work a bit more to get the knockout on your Snow Runs if you miss the turn one uh, TM Evolution. Anyways, onto the main star, Mega Froslass. Rebellion does 50 damage for each card in your opponent's hand. This is effectively, not effectively because it is metal weak, but this can be a good Golden Go punish because they have just a massive stack of cards in their hand at all times. But again, you are weak to metal. They only need to discard 4 energy to knock you out. So how good that is will remain to be seen. It's just something interesting. Another interesting combination that I have seen people talk about is time, which is you say a Pokemon's name, put it face down in front of you. Your opponent has to guess the HP of said Pokemon. If they guess right, they draw 4. If they guess wrong, you draw 4. The play with that is you give them a Pokemon that they know the HP is. Something like a Budu, you know it has 30 HP. So either they guess Budu right and you're dealing 200 more damage, or they guess wrong and give you 4 more cards. Either way, it's a good result for you. You also have Absolute Snow for 3 energy. You're never using this, but it is 150 and your opponent is now asleep. Sleep is a really good condition because your opponent can either, well, your opponent flips a coin, and if heads, they wake up. If tails, they can't do anything. Moving on, we have new Ends Pokemon, as I said in the start. We have Ends Vanillite, which has Call for Family, which could be really good for Zoroark decks because you just spam Buddy Puffin. So potentially you could go Buddy Puffin for Vanillite and then retreat into it with something like Ends Castle and pull up Vanillite and just Call for Family for the extra Pokemon. You would rather use TM Evolution, obviously, but it could be a nice backup if you miss the TM Evolution or just want extra support. And also, Vanillux is not that bad of an attacker. Neither is Vanillish, honestly, at least when copied by Zoroark. Ends Vanillish does 60 damage, we are assuming for 2 Darkness, because this is likely just getting copied by Zoroark. Defending Pokemon can attack. So this could be a good just stall tactic if your opponent doesn't have switch outs. If they've burned all of their energies, you could trap something like a support Pokemon or just trap a potentially just stall a turn versus decks that require multiple energy attachments like Dragapult or Goldango, stuff that is hard to pivot out of and just buy you a turn. You have Vanillux as well, which Layered Snow is interesting. Place damage counters on all of your opponent's Pokemon until their damage is doubled. Now, I believe that this gets stopped by Battle Coliseum. I will need to double check that, but just doubling the amount of damage on the opponent's Pokemon could be interesting. And the only issue is it is a stage 2. Stage 2s are easy to get out right now, so there is that to consider. Blizzard, you're not going to use this attack. 120, 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. That's not really enough. That would need to be at least 20, maybe even 30 damage to consider. And then Layered Snow would just keep piling on those 30 damage, which would be actually really helpful. Frostmoth is unfortunately bulk, draw a card if it's in the active. Cold Cyclone does not do enough damage. Snom, unfortunately, 50 HP, not really questioned. not really in contention. And also, I think there might be better Snoms for GLC. Maybe this is the best one because it's 50 HP when retreat. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't played GLC in a hot minute. But if there is a better Snom, then just let me know. This was the contentious card that was revealed very, very blurry, where people thought this card was going to do 350 damage. In what world was a basic Pokemon going to be hitting Megas for a knockout regardless of cost? 250 is a much more reasonable number, I say. But let's look at the first attack first. Shred, 70 damage. You are not affected by any effects on your opponent's active. So you can get through Cornerstone now. You can get through Crustle. You can get through just any walling Pokemon. You can actually knock out your Mimikyu. And it doesn't really matter if they have a Bravery Charm because I believe Mimikyu is Dark Weak. So Shred, knocking out your walling Pokemon and also helping, helping versus walls. Rampaging Thunder, 250. Ignore this attack because it's going to be too dark. You are one-shotting basic EXs that are non-mega, and with the right combinations, you are one-shotting stage 2 megas. You can go Black Belt's Training for 40 damage, that's 290. You can add in Maximum Belt, and that does 340, which knocks out the stage 2 megas. And if that's not enough, you can also add Gravity Mountain to effectively deal 370, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I believe, yeah, 250, Max Belt 300, Black Belt's Training 340, and Gravity Mountain is effectively a plus 30. So, yeah, 370 damage for Rampaging Thunder, which is like all of the stage 2 EXs. And then we also have, lastly, this funny little card, Anthea and Concordia. During this turn, if your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack of one of your end's Pokemon, take 3 extra prizes. Sounds too good to be true, right? Massive catch, though. You can only play this card if you have End Darmanitan, End Zoroark, End Reshiram, End Zekrom, End Klinklang, and this is lifting a lot of weight, and End Vanillux in play. If this said or, this card would be a staple in every Zoroark deck, but they would never do that. This and is doing a heavy lifting, so your bench has to be well, your field, I guess, because bench is just 5. Your field has to be 6 specific Pokemon. True, you could use Area 0 to open up effectively 2 extra bench slots, but that's asking a bit much because you are using 2 stage 1s with Zoroark and Darmanitan. True, Zoroark has a draw engine built in. 2 basics with Reshiram and Zekrom, and 2 stage 2s, which is not the easiest to get into play, especially when you don't really have a consistent draw engine on board. If this said something like you can play this card only if you have 6 different ends Pokemon in play, it could be more interesting because then you could fill your board with End Zoroark in the active and then 5 just generic ends Pokemon and go from there. But I get why they want to do 6 specific ones. And the interesting thing is that I did not know who these characters were. They are actually characters in Black and White. I had to look that up. And one other thing that I want to mention is the full art of End Zekrom looks absolutely stunning. Look at this artwork. This matches perfectly with the Ends Reshiram, and I am looking forward to building this. The fact that this can now just easily one-shot Mega Pokemon with 250. Reshiram's 170 didn't really feel like enough to me, unfortunately. So the 250 bump is actually really, really helpful. Anyways, that is all the new cards that got revealed. We have the Dragonite line, Electros, everything from last time, now translated into English, thankfully, thanks to Pokemon Proxies, so that's nice. But yeah, this was a very interesting reveal. It was out of nowhere to see Trainers Pokemon back, but it's not something I'm gonna be against, because trainers Pokemon are actually really fun. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed these little reveals. Tell me which cards you are interested in so far already. I know I'm already interested in the End Zekrom. Zoroark is looking like an interesting deck to play now that you have the one-shot potential. True, it takes a lot of building to do so, but just all of that is really helpful for the deck. Anyways, that is all for now, and I will see everybody in the next video.